All right, hello everybody. I don't know about this. This is going to be a lot to go over, and this might have been a bad idea on my part, but we are going to look at how to do some customizing with our journals. As you can see, I'm definitely a bit of a journal accumulator, and one thing that I've dove into lately is the isometric graph paper and toned paper such as this. But what I've realized is that I kind of want everything in one book, because jumping back and forth between different types of paper, depending on what you want to do, black paper with paint pens or brown paper with gouache, any of those, it's nice to have them all in one place. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually taking apart these sketchbooks. This is kind of messy, so forgive the mess. And I'm going to put them back together with a bunch of different types of paper all in one. And I think for a long time I just assumed it was a bad idea to take apart the spiral binding, but I've been experimenting with it in several ways. And I have shown on here before that you can often just rip the paper and still be able to reinsert it with the tab, especially if it's a stiffer paper. It holds on surprisingly well. But today we're actually going to take things out of the binding, and I'm also going to experiment with perforating other types of paper and then inserting them all into one single sketchbook. I'm also going to use different sizes of paper because I have some of these other interesting types of graph paper that I have found recently, such as this one, which I think will be really interesting for things such as phonology wheels. I didn't know you could get circular graph paper like this, but it's actually really cool. And I'll be putting information about all of these in the video description later on YouTube. But these are some of the different types of paper. I'm also experimenting with a variety of the papers from Stillman and Byrne. As you know, they've had some quality issues since they were purchased by Clairefontaine, and I've talked about that a lot in other videos. In fact, let me show you one right now. That first sketchbook at the beginning, you can see that this has a much more intense and plasticky gloss to it. This is the way the Stillman and Byrne Alpha series look now. It's a much lower quality cover material, and this is the paper that I used to prefer. So that's 150 GSM, and we'll definitely be putting some of that paper into the book we're making today. But for whatever reason, they started reducing the quality on the covers. So I started buying some of the other types. Here you can see that I'm opening right now. This is a Delta series. I've been hoarding these a little bit because I'm worried that they're all going to change to this lower quality. The paper has been having quality issues as well, which is even more worrisome. So I started buying a bunch of these other types. This one right here has that sort of ivory color to it, so it's not a pure white. It's still cold press finish, and it's 270 GSM, so it's kind of like the Beta series, but just with ivory paper, I believe. So it'll be interesting to see. I can tell the cover is a better quality, and we'll take some of this paper and mix it in. It looks like I don't notice any major issues with the paper yet, but what I'm going to do is I'll pull apart the binding on all of these. It's going to be a bit of a headache for me organizationally. Ooh, yeah, these covers are still the good ones. That's still a premium sketchbook in my opinion, whereas this paper right here and some of the issues they've been having, the covers are worse, but they've also been having issues with these defects in the paper where there's these weird folds growing across the page like that. I'm not sure if you can. This right here, look at that line right there. That is not right, especially for a sketchbook that costs $36. That's just, yeah, that's not right. So anyways, that's why I started experimenting with some of these other ones. And right now we're going to make a Frankensketchbook where we're going to combine a variety of different types of paper into one sketchbook. So I have only about 30 sketchbooks lying all around me, and hopefully I won't get lost or too disorganized here, but I'll show you the basic concept. And this is for the Stillman and Byrne binding, but I think most of the other sketchbooks are going to have a similar pattern where there's one side, let's call it, geez, do I want to use the male and female like in irrigation supplies or plumbing? Maybe not. Let's call this one the pointy one, and let's call this one the closed one. So here you can see that on one end, when it hits the perforation, it doesn't go through, whereas this pointy one will go through. So I'm just gonna, after I've gone through and separated them all, try to pull them apart very evenly when you do this, so that you have this even opening down the middle. What you'll notice here is mine is not very even, and it curves to one side. Let me put the paper like this, you'll be able to see better. It curves a little bit to one side, and that makes it harder to remove a bunch of paper all at once. And I think what we're going to do is we'll just pull a bunch of these off here and set them to one side. Oh, I need to get these brown paper ones out of the way. Set them to one side, and then we'll start inserting stuff little by little. So I can just pull these all out now. The first time I did this, I was very anxious about. The first times I did this was for scanning my pages. Oh, I forgot. We're going to probably put some envelopes and do a little scrapbooking and junk journaling type techniques in the back, on the back page, because these back pages are often pretty nice. No point in wasting that space. So I'm actually taking all of the paper out. Hopefully I won't start mixing up which paper type is which. This right here is the I can tell this is the beta series. It's 270 GSM. It's white, and it's it has a cold grains. It has a watercolor surface to it there. Oh, and I want some of this gray paper too. Gray and black paper. Because look, the gray paper is fun for a lot of things, actually. Check that out. I need to do more with that paint pen palette. So I want some of this gray paper. At least a few pages, and black paper too. This is Stillman and Byrne Nova series. They started doing toned paper not that long ago, and you can get a package where you get all three all together. And in this case, I got that, but it was the I think this is 7 by 10. You can see this is a smaller size of paper than what I normally use. Okay, so now that I got those, I'm going to put them all to the side here. Start putting those all to the side, put these all to the side. The rest of this, I'll rebind that later, so get that out of the way. Which paper? Oh, I don't have any of this paper yet, so one thing I could do is I could rip this out, or I could take the binding completely apart, which is going to take more time, but maybe I should just do that. I think I can get rid of these. Which is this one? Oh, this is another one. So this is like Zeta. Yeah. So this is the 270 GSM, but smooth. So I guess technically I should put some of this in. So that means I have more work cut out for me than I was originally planning, but I can show you the whole process. So the first thing I need to do is I need to open up the spiral binding, and usually the part that you need is in the back. And so I just go through, and I want to create some type of jig. Like I could probably make something out of wood that would hold these things, and maybe like I could pull a lever and it would open them all evenly. But until then, I basically have to do this by hand, and it's really labor intensive, but I try to make it as even as possible. That's the other reason why you could create some type of machine or jig that would do this, and it would probably be much more uniform than if you do it by hand. It can kind of mess it up. And if you don't put it back together right, it can be really annoying as a sketchbook, especially as a field sketchbook, like if pages are sort of falling out. And I must admit, it's quite confusing, at least for my brain, the way that this works. And so the way that it works is the first page that comes off of the binding is the back cover. So, and then it goes from there on, it goes in a more sensical order. It goes starting with the front cover. So I'll just put these covers aside because all I really want is to steal some of this paper, which definitely feels quite different from what I usually use. I should probably mark these or make it a test, because if I can't tell the difference between the papers without having something written on them, then the difference is probably not that important. So I'll set those aside, and I think I'm just going to close this one right back up. So I'll put the front cover on first, and then I can show you how it goes. The front cover goes on first there, and now the back cover goes on. You pull those all up through, see they're all through, and now I just have to go through and as evenly as possible close all of these, right? So I could try to put it sideways, or I could try to just go this way and pay really close attention to the distance, because I want these to be even and I want them to be smooth, or else they'll be snagging all the time on your cover when you're opening and closing your sketchbook. At first, I was very intimidated by this process, especially once I had a filled sketchbook with a bunch of nature journaling and sketches and drawings that I was really attached to. And I was very nervous about it, but maybe that's just part of my like perfectionist personality. But now that I've done it a few times, it's opened up a little bit more irreverence and sort of creativity around how I use my sketchbooks. I almost called them flex books. So I think that's a good sign. And what I want to do is share that with you, so that you don't think of this as uncharted territory or forbidden territory. This is something you can do with your sketchbooks, is you can totally take them apart. These spiral bindings are not that hard to take apart, and you can re-put them back together in interesting ways. One thing I just started experimenting with is for paper that does not already have holes in it. So like if I want to use a type of paper that's doesn't have the same type of hole system, how hard is it with just a single punch to go through and copy the system of holes? And I don't even need to do all of them. I could probably just do 4 of them and then match it to that binding. That's something that I want to experiment with, because for example, having some tracing paper in there could be really useful, and it's a way that you can customize everything basically. Let's see, which one is this? Is this the, oh, this is the Delta. I haven't taken any out of this one, so that's my next one to take apart, right? And this is the 9x12 size, which is what I like to use, even though it ends up being very inconvenient when you have to scan things or put things into storage bins. 8.5 by 11 inches is much easier to work with. I guess this is better. Okay, so I'm going to go through and try to open this as evenly as possible. Why is that not working? This should be like an ASMR video, probably. Should invest in some microphones. All right, that looks pretty good. You can see, hopefully you can see on the camera that this is the ivory paper. Look, see, this is how Stillman and Burn is supposed to be. So when I first started buying these sketchbooks, it was very expensive, but it felt like it was worth it. And one of the things that I love is that on the inside of the cover, they use the same, it's not just some cheap paper that they slap on here. It's the same paper that the sketchbook is made up of. And that's something that I love about them when I first started getting them. But that's one of the things that has changed with the new ones, and it's really annoying, especially when I make an index that uses this inside cover, because this is good paper. You might as well draw on here. And in the new ones, it's this it's a lower quality paper that they put on the cover. I can't find that example right now, so let's skip it. Okay, so this is a process. Now I'm gonna take the so I've got the, how's it go, back cover, front cover, back cover, front cover, and then we're just going to steal a few pages and then put it back together. And this will be good practice for me because it's a little challenging for my brain working on this. Okay, so this is what is it called? The Delta series, I think it's called. Haven't worked with this. If you're trying to get the most pure colors possible, which is what I'm often doing with my nature journaling, then you don't really want ivory. But if it's like your for fun sketchbook, or you like that sort of Leonardo da Vinci or Renaissance looking old antique paper or something, then this could be really good. The ivory paper could be perfect for you. It sort of automatically adds a style to, or sort of a mood even, to your journal. Okay, now I took those out, and I should probably later add some other type of paper to these sketchbooks, because these have all been sort of what is it, impoverished by me stealing from them. They now have fewer pages than they originally did. Squeeze that back together. All right, that's the Delta series. I'll put that one away, and we'll start building our final Franken journal. Oh, I might try to get some of these I have some other crazy graph paper that I started finding, and I'll put this into the description of the video description on YouTube. But I found some really interesting, I've been using isometric for quite a while. Where'd that go? It's around here somewhere. I've been using the isometric graph paper, and I'm going to put some into the sketchbook for sure. And that's really fun to work with. But I have recently found these other types of graph paper that I never seen before. So this one's with 3-point perspective, so you can sort of practice 3-point perspective. I haven't even used this one yet, but I'm pretty excited about it, because practicing perspective is always hard, and I've never seen something like that. So just to kind of show you, let me quickly show you how you could use this. But basically, if you want to practice drawing, for example, like buildings in 3-point perspective, then you could use this sketchbook. And the graph paper is designed to guide you for drawing in that type of perspective, which is really cool. They have 2-point perspective, and then they have this other one that's like a circular diagram. Excuse me. That's 2-point. I mean, I think, yeah, no, that's 3-point. Then they have this one is 2-point, which is kind of interesting. Where's my water? This one's really big. 11 by 17 is a very awkward size, I would say. So I probably wouldn't actually recommend this unless you really think you're going to use it and practice it. I think these are actually, see, I tried practicing this one already just a little bit for like designing a room, an office room, but it was kind of hard. But that's my only attempt so far. I think isometric is a little bit easier in a lot of ways. So I'm going to start by pulling out some pages of isometric to use them. This sketchbook I talked about in my newsletter recently. You should check out my newsletter. There's some big changes probably coming up soon for my social media and stuff like that. I might be getting off of a lot of social media, so check out my newsletter. And recently on my newsletter and on my website, I talked about isometric perspective. I think I did a short YouTube video about it as well. And I really think there's a lot of benefits to practicing it. But right now, all I'm going to do is I'm going to get these pages and try to see if I can fit them into the binding. So far, what I've been doing is I glue them in. But now I'm going to try hole punching, doing something with the hole punching. Let's see if this will work. So my idea was that I would just line up a page with the type of perforation that I want. Like I could just use the cover, I guess, of the book that I'm using. I had these set up to show me what was going to be on the fit on the screen, but okay, now I'm going to line this up on the isometric paper. It's a little bit tricky. It's pretty lined up. That looks good. And now I'm just going to mark these and then perforate them. And I probably could skip, I'm guessing I can skip a few. Maybe if I skip them, they will be in the way. We'll find out. Okay, now I need to make sure I don't slide those because there were multiple lined up. Yeah, it's gonna be way harder on the like watercolor paper. I probably need to come up with a better system than this if I'm gonna do a lot of these. Maybe I could make custom journals for people and sell them like on Etsy or something. Definitely get carpal tunnel syndrome doing that for very long. I could probably get a factory like in Southeast Asia or something to do it for cheaper. So I think I'm probably going to need to like cut that part out there. Otherwise it's going to bump into the binding. So maybe I don't even save any time at all. But I'm trying to think if there's a way that I don't have to put in all the perforation. You know what I'm saying? It might look kind of cool too. Like it's definitely going to look kind of retro futuristic. Blade Runner sketchbook kind of vibes. Okay, so I've got that paper. I've got this paper. This paper has the holes already. This is another one. This is the Zeta. This is my other cover. What's this? This is all beta paper. That might be too much. So now I have to decide how I'm going to mix these together. Oh, that's what I can do. I'll take out some of this beta and I'll use that to replace the empty pages in the other sketchbooks. And let's see here. So I got this, I got this. I'll put the small ones together It's going to be a very confusing sketchbook in some ways, but this is an experiment, and I think that one of the cutting edges of journaling is this sort of recombinatorial, or also just blurring the boundaries. And sometimes you have to go out on a limb to find the fruit, and that's where new things often are, but it doesn't always work. I probably have way too many of these gray. Yeah, I don't need all these. Why are these all here? Black. Oh, I was gonna do some like weird torn ones, but I think I can save that for later. But this is what I mean, is ones where it's not like an even page. Like that. Save this for later. That's what this one is. Another. Oh, I did 2 pages at the time. That's why that one came out weird. So, one pro tip about tearing paper is that the direction you are tearing in has an effect on which side gets more of this edge removed. So this look, if you don't want that and you want this sort of clean edge, you have to pull in a different direction. So if I pull, how does this go? If I pull towards me, it makes more of the rip on this side. The side that I'm pulling away from gets the cleaner cut. So like pulling this way, it makes more sense. That pulling this way, it rips more of that surface layer off. And in fact, this is like way too much. That looks kind of messed up. But on the other side, it will be that clear line. So you're pulling up, it rips up more of the paper, and the downside will be the side that is more clean or more crisp. That's enough of that. Okay, I think I'm basically ready to put this together, and I will probably just skip out on the this paper for right now, or I might try putting that one in. Oh yeah, look, so let's just rip it and it'll be a partial. Now I have a little bit of tracing paper there, but I probably want that somewhere in the inside. Now, the fun part is putting this all back on the binding, but I think I might save that for the next episode of the Nature Journal Show. And it might be the last episode of the Nature Journal Show coming up soon. There might be a big transition. Sign up for my newsletter because I'm going to be sending out a survey because I want to know what are some of the things that you've liked about my YouTube channel. What are some of the things that you've liked about the Nature Journal Show in particular. I'm planning on continuing to create interesting and thoughtful pieces of art and educational content for you, educational videos and books. I'm currently working on publishing this Jaguar Journals book that has a bunch of my drawings and sketches from my recent trip to Brazil. So I'm trying to dive a little bit deeper and take you along and move away from creating just for the algorithm and battling it out on social media. So hopefully this idea of Franken journals was interesting for you. I will be chewing my fingernails and crying as I try to put this binding back on. And stay tuned for next week for the Nature Journal Show. It might be the second to last episode. All right, bye everybody. Thanks for those watching on Instagram. Thanks for those. Sorry I couldn't answer your questions. on Instagram. Bye, everybody. See you next week. Sign up for my newsletter. Bye.